Hi, my friends. My name is Joel, and today I'm going to talk about phonetic and phonology. Okay, let's start. Phonology. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about basic concepts: an accent, an acrolate, dialect, idiolect, receive pronunciations, varieties. No, first of all, we're going to talk about accent. What is an accent? Accent says different ways in which a language can be pronounced. Uh, we are not the same. We pronounce in a different way. So we pronounce, I don't know, like an American people. We pronounce like a British people. So this is the accent because we pronounce in a different way. Dialect, variation in grammar and vocabulary. I want to tell you an example talking about in our context, in our Bolivian context. For example, we have a different vocabulary in La Paz, in Santa Cruz, in Tarija. Now we have a different vocabulary, and also we have a different grammar because um, people who live in La Paz work in a different way. They use another grammar. For example, I remember that Santa Cruz, people who live in Santa Cruz, they don't use the letter S, no, and that is a variation in grammar. And variety, variation in grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Here, it's a variation in which I don't know we in which we can pronounce different. We can pronounce in a different way. No, regional variation. Here, different between one place and another place. So, if this regional variation depends to the region in depends in the region you live. That's why you pronounce the word different than another. Social variation. This social variation depends. It talk about the sociolinguistic, the society, and the language. Why? Because social variation is the difference between one place and another. It includes the matters such as the ethnicity, the religion, the age, the gender, the social classes. So that's why I told you that it's we can talk about the social linguistic because we talk about the religion, the age, the gender, the social class because it's different when people speak in informal way or in a formal way. Also, it's different the vocabulary in children. No, that's why social variation is we can notice the different pronunciations. Basilect. This is another concept. Basilect. Okay, it says the broadest local accent are term Basilect, spoken by less prodigious people. Basilect is is, is another term we can see in sociolinguistic, in society and a language, because the Basilect is a less prodigious speech. For example, we can talk about we can talk about with our friends. We can use the Basilect because we are in informal way, no. And acrolate. What's an acrolate? Acrolate, the most prodigious form of speech. No, for example, here we have an example. We have to work hard to buy a house. This is an acrolate. This is a way in which we can talk in a formal way. No, and here we gotta work like nigga to have a roof. This is an informal way in which we can speak. Now, this is a basilect, this is an acrolect. Okay? And now, we're going to talk about phonetic and phonology. We are going to give a concept, a real concept. We're going to begin with phonetics, not phonetics. deals with the study of allophones, deals with the production of speech sound by humans. It gives information about how phonemes are actually pronounced or produced. No, this phonetic work with allophones. This is the important word that we have to remember. Phonetics work with allophones. No, and phonology. What's phonology? Phonology deals with phonemes of a language. It it is about pattern of sounds in different positions in words. It studies sounds that produce difference in meaning. Now, and phonology we can associate with phonemes, no? And phonetic, I told you that we can associate with allophones, no? We have to remember it. Okay, phonemes, phonemes. Phonemes is the smallest unit of speech that we can use to make one word different from another word, such as the letter P and the letter B and the letter P. For example, we have a word big and peak. No? What's the characteristic of phonemes? Broad transcriptions. No, broad transcriptions, only segments. That's the characteristic of phonemes. And what about the allophones? The allophones, we can see that it's narrow transcriptions. Information of articulation is visual. No? Next, free variation is another concept. If we are going to talk about phonology and phonetics, we have to talk about free variation. And also complementary distribution. We have to talk about complementary distribution. And what is free variation? Free variation depends on habits, geographically and conditioning. That's why we, for example, it depends on the region where you live. For example, the Spanish language, it's the same, but for example, people who live in Argentina or people who live in Brazil, people who live in Bolivia, they use the same language, Spanish, but they pronounce it in a different way. No, for example, another example in English, people who live who live in British, people who live in United States, they pronounce different, but by the language English is the same. Now, for example, I have an example better. Some of us pronounce better, no? Other pronounce better, like a British, no? This is free variation. And complementary distribution. Complementary distribution. If we talk about complementary distribution, we have to talk about allophone, and the allophone is inside is implicit to the to to phonetics, no? One allophone